Ladies and gentlemen, there's a specific type of loneliness that only the strong friend truly understands. It's the deafening silence that follows after everyone else's problems have been solved. You know? We live in a culture that pedestalizes the reliable. We give standing ovations to the person who stays composed during a crisis, the one who carries the emotional baggage of their entire social circle without ever dropping a single piece. But have you ever paused, really paused, to consider the cost of that stability? We tend to view strength as an inherent trait, a solid foundation that never cracks. But in the realm of human psychology, this unbreakable exterior is often less of a shield and more of a cage. Consider the paradox of the hero for a moment. In our stories, the hero saves the day and then rides off into the sunset satisfied and whole. But in reality, the person who consistently holds the space for others to fall apart rarely receives the same invitation to collapse themselves. They become a mirror for everyone else's healing, yet they never see their own reflection. This leads us to a fundamental question. What happens when the person who holds everyone else together starts to fall apart? When you become the designated strong one, you inadvertently train the people around you to stop seeing your humanity. They stop looking for the signs of your fatigue, your burnout, or your grief, because quite simply, they have built their own peace of mind on the assumption that you are an immovable object. It is a psychological trade-off that often goes unnoticed until the foundation begins to fracture. This isn't just about being busy or having a lot on your plate. This is about the internalization of a role, a mask that becomes so cemented to your skin that you begin to believe, even in your most private, quiet moments, that you are not allowed to be anything less than a pillar.
Think about the way your phone lights up. Does it only glow when someone is in the middle of a crisis? Does it go quiet the moment they are back on solid ground? Right? This creates a very specific kind of resentment. It is not the loud, explosive kind. It is the quiet, heavy, sinking feeling that you are merely a utility to those you love. You are being held hostage by your own competence. You've built a reputation for being the person who can handle it. Consequently, people stop checking in on you because they assume you're doing fine. They mistake your endurance for indifference. They mistake your lack of complaints for a lack of needs. And so, you continue to offer your emotional labor, depleting your own reserves, while waiting for someone to notice that you too are running on empty. But here is where it gets complicated. Why do we stay in this position? Why do we continue to open the door when we are already exhausted? Most people assume it is purely out of kindness, but there was a deeper, more unsettling psychological motive at play that we haven't even touched upon yet. There is a reason you voluntarily take on this burden. A reason that involves a subconscious fear of what would happen if you were the one holding the phone, waiting for a call that never comes. However, there was one detail everyone missed. A specific mechanism.
The answers are often buried in our early years, in the quiet lessons we learned about who gets to be loved and who has to work for it. But that isn't even the most unsettling part, right? Because the way you view your own independence might actually be the very thing preventing the genuine intimacy you crave. We have to look at how your shield has inadvertently become a barrier to the very connection you think you're working so hard to protect. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, if we are to truly dismantle this fortress we've built around our vulnerabilities, we have to stop viewing our independence as a badge of honor and start seeing it for what it often is, a survival strategy that has outlived its purpose. Deconstructing the shield isn't about suddenly becoming a burden to everyone around you. No, It's about recalibrating the internal architecture of your relationships. The first step in this process is conducting an honest emotional audit. Look at your circle, not with judgment, but with the cold clarity of a researcher. Identify the dynamics that are purely transactional, the ones where you have, unconsciously signed a contract to be the permanent therapist, the listener, the problem solver, while you remain the one who never gets to voice a struggle. If you find that your value to others is rooted solely in your ability to have it all together, you aren't in a partnership or a friendship. You are in a performance. Ask yourself, if you stopped offering solutions today, would the room still feel like a space for you? Or would the silence become uncomfortable? Once you've identified these imbalances, you don't need to force a dramatic confrontation. Instead, practice the art of micro-vulnerability. This is your training ground.
Being human, the messy, complicated part of us, is significantly more valuable than being strong. For too long, you have operated under the illusion that your worth is tied to your resilience, to the capacity to endure without a tremor, and to the ability to hold the sky up for others. But in this process, you have inadvertently built a pedestal that has become your prison. The most profound connections we form in this life are not forged in our moments of invulnerability. They are not built on our ability to offer advice or our capacity to absorb the blows of the world without complaint. Real, raw human connection is found in the cracks. It exists in the messy, unpolished, and fragile parts of our psyche that we hide away because we fear they are weaknesses. When you finally allow yourself to be seen, not as the hero, not as the protector, but as a person with needs, fears, and limits, you don't lose your value. You reclaim your humanity. Think of it this way. A statue may be strong, carved from marble and built to withstand the elements, but it cannot feel, it cannot grow, and it certainly cannot love. By stepping down from that pedestal, you are choosing to participate in the shared, beautiful imperfection that defines the human experience. You are trading the cold isolation of the strong friend for the warmth of genuine reciprocal presence. You are learning that to be enough, you do not need to be everything to everyone. You only need to be honest with yourself. This is a transition that requires a specific kind of courage. The courage to say, I am not okay.